Excel file here called Excel Shortcuts. And what this has in it is a list of all the different shortcuts that I find myself using anytime I'm inside of Excel. So it's worth having all of these, I'm not gonna lie, committed to memory. It looks like a long list, but I'm telling you, by the end of this, you're gonna have all of these basically committed to memory. They're gonna be time saver. Now, although I shit on people that print out stuff, this would be something that I do recommend actually printing out and having next to you so that way you can reference really quickly while going through this course. All right, now we move fast through that, but we're really gonna be diving into, as I called out during this lesson, all of these different tabs even more as we advance through all the different chapters. So that was more of a sneak peek into what you're going to be exposed to coming up in this course. All right, for those that purchase the practice problems, you have some problems to go through and actually experiment more with the tabs. In the next chapter, we're going to be jumping into functions and also more specifically formulas in order to build them out and perform data analysis on that data science job posting data set. With that, I'll see you in the next one. All right, welcome to this chapter on formulas and functions. In this lesson, we're going to be focusing specifically on going a deep dive in understanding formulas. Then in all of the follow-on lessons, we're going to spend the majority of our time working on functions. For that, we'll be exploring the entire function library, focusing on the key functions within this library that I find that I'm using time and time again in data analytics. So what are we going to be doing in this lesson? Well, we're going to be focusing on a fictitious data set. We're going to keep it small in order for us to get more familiar with operating with formulas and operating on this data set. Specifically, by the end of this, we're going to be able to input into this worksheet a number of years of experience or total salary and be able to see whether these jobs meet those conditions, specifically whether they meet both of those conditions. So for this, you can follow along by opening that Formulas Intro workbook. In this workbook, we'll be staying in this data sheet right here. All the different cell referencing are shown via that sheet, but we'll just be sticking for data for now. First up is math operators. And as shown bonus or the bonus rate, that is going to be the bonus divided by that salary. So in this case, E3 divided by D3. Once again, going to use autofill, drag and drop it all the way down. Now for all these values, I don't like what it's formatted as right now. I'm actually going to change this to a percentage, and I want to see one decimal place. So I'll press this, drop it all the way down. Now for all these values, I don't like what it's formatted as right now. I'm actually going to change minus E3 divided by D3. Once again, going to use autofill, drag and drop it all the way down. Here are the different operators listed in their order of salary. So I feel we calculated bonus rate correctly. Now going back into the formula itself, you can see we have multiple operations values look like. So I can just add in our annual salary, right? So that should give us that bonus rate right there. Then if we wanted to, like we said, we want to confirm total salary. The last three are something that get a little bit more complicated whenever you have a greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, or in this case, a not equal to. So previously, I just sort of did a cursory check to make sure this confirmed total salary column equals this other total salary column. But imagine you have hundreds of thousands of rows. How can we actually compare this and find these values? Well, what we can do is we can say, hey, is G3 equal to I3? And this looks a little bit confusing, right? Because you have two equal signs in there, but everything to the right of the equal sign is basically a comparison. And from there, it either ends every to I3. And this looks a little bit confusing, right? Because you have two equal signs in there, but everything to the right of the equal sign is basically a comparison. And from there, it either ends up as a true or a false. And we can drag and autofill this in, and everything is true. Similarly, if we want to find something like, is the bonus max greater than the annual salary? We can do, hey, is bonus max at E3 greater than that at D3? And typical of any data science job, none of these really exceed that at all. Typical of any data science, greater than that at 3. And the columns H through K, and also hide them. So I want everything to appear on the same sheet. So we're going to be referencing add in that annual salary itself. And we do have that total salary right here to actually confirm what's going on. Dragging it down and doing an autofill. All these values look like they correlate to what it should be for total salary. So I feel like we calculated bonus rate correctly. Now going back into the formula itself, you can see we have multiple operations in here. Addition, subtraction, what fixed reference. In order to do this, we're gonna insert those dollar signs that we saw previously before the column, and then also the pressing F4. Anyway, this locks this in. Sheet. So we're going to be referencing this table down here for this portion when you're trying to, along with this, in order to, that I have 5 years experience, then I'm looking at 9 right here, less than or equal to the value right here in our experience. We can also go up. We can also go up. So inspecting it, locking it didn't really change by only locking the row of 16 by actually defining out which of these chapters.